Okay, so this is our second recording because the first recording went through the audio. Um, so we want to touch. This is our first sprint video for the first week of DTR, and we are very excited to just going through the experience of getting familiarized with other technologies. And for this sprint video, we will talk about our sprint for the last week and our planning for the rest of the quarters and the next few sprints. So the first thing we did is we tried to understand the past progress made on the project, especially by Eunice, Ryan, Addison, and Jenny, because they are very close related to each other. So what we did is we watched the sprint video made by Eunice at the end of last quarter and try to get a better understanding of how she design arguments is getting tested by those paper prototype and digital prototype. And we went over past sprints and we Skyped with Eunice to try to communicate our ideas about how our understanding of narrative is like. And later on, we met with Ryan and we read recommended papers from Jenny, Addison, and Ryan to get a better understanding of their research. Later on, we met with Addison and Jenny to understand how their collective experience API comes about and how those are related to our project. And later on, we met with Hao Chi to discuss our quality goals. And lastly, we read through the code base for collective experience API to get a better understanding of how those APIs may help with our collective narrative research.
So after we took a look at the past progresses we made, we began formatting our plans for this quarter. So right now we're making our first sprint video. We also met together to brainstorm on design arguments and have a discussion on what we want, our goals for the quarter, and they're right here in the design log. So to start with, Gino and I have different exact definitions of what it means for a collective narrative to be displayed. So in my opinion, a collective narrative should be matching people who might be in different situations but are experiencing the same feelings. For example, a person who might be sitting in a long car ride, or a person who might be waiting for their significant other to finish shopping in the mall, who might both be feeling bored. I want that to be the ability for them to connect to each other and exchange their stories. Yeah, and Gino has a different opinion. He views collective narrative as people who are in similar situations utilizing some medium or avenue to form a narrative, and it's then translated into a collective narrative by being shared with people in the same situation. So, going along with the long car ride example, two people might be from different locations across the country who are both sitting in a car ride, but they're in a similar situation and they're able to share their experience across space. So we feel that it's definitely possible to kind of combine the two interpretations, and possibly we're going to bring this up at the SIG meeting this week.
So what we went through the next few steps is we follow the lecture notes by Hao Chi about how to really think about design arguments and what is a good design problem. So we did some brainstorming on some questions related to that. So the first thing is we thought about who might be the users and what are the high level goals for our project going to be like. And it's like we want this intervention technology to be able to connect with someone in the same situation, and this situation needs to be further defined and specified. How specific should they be like? But we think design problem is the user are unable to accomplish their goal because most of the time they are alone and isolated, and they have this inner craving to find someone in a similar situation to share their experience and feelings. And some of the impact can be potentially very helpful, made possible by this technology, is we want the younger generations to really because the younger generations are really want to talk about their problems, about how they're feeling and how they are really passionate about sharing the experience with others. And this kind of attention to be connected with others may provide us with some gap in the current state of technology for us to conduct our research on.
So we ended up forming a design argument, and the main basis of our design argument was the ability to connect people who are in similar situations together to share their narratives. We also came up with a few characteristics that the intervention should have in order to finalize that design argument. For one, this technology should have the ability for people to communicate their thoughts and feelings through messages, phone calls, etc. Because we feel that in order for two people to form a connection or a bond, it's important for them to be able to sympathize with each other and just put themselves in each other's shoes. Another feature would be the ability to share their environmental situations through photos, videos, or recordings, because experiences are more immersive if someone can see or hear the situations that the other person is experiencing. Third, we want the ability for someone to actively search for others and as well as be matched with others, because having a collection of isolated experiences with random people is not necessarily a narrative. It's more so just a collection of experiences. However, by having a series of experiences with similar groups of people, you can start to build a narrative through that and see how your relationship with them has developed. Finally, we want the ability for people to get reminders about what happened the last time they were at a certain place, for example, the Lakeville, because by recording memories, the user will be able to get a measure of how they've developed over time, and it'll, it'll be part of the way for creating a narrative for their personal growth. So our goals for the next sprint are basically to get feedback about our current design argument and get some community thoughts on how we should refine and improve this argument.